Hey, what's going on, guys? Chris here from MIXDOWN Online. A couple days ago, I received a comment related to one video that I produced months ago about mixing vocals with reverb. If you want to watch that video, I'm going to leave the link on top. So the comment goes like this. If I can be a bit critical, there are two things I react to here. I'm just going to cover one for today. First thing is regulating the amount of reverb for a single track by using the send channel fader. Usually, you use a send reverb for several or even all tracks in the mix, and moving the send channel fader will affect the amount of reverb on all tracks routed to it. What you have to do instead is using the horizontal faders on the track's send racks to determine how much signal you send to the reverb channel for each track. Now, if you're wondering what the horizontal line is, that is related to the amount of signal you send to an effects channel track. Now, I don't fully disagree with the comment. The only thing I don't agree with is to limit yourself on using an effects channel track to serve several tracks. And I'm going to explain to you why. I know this is going to sound a bit basic for some of you, but I just want to make sure everybody understands the role of an effects channel track. And also hang on, because I'm going to show you the way I work, my workflow when it comes to work with an effects channel track. But first, if you're new here on the channel and you're into music production, click on the subscribe button below and the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And again, guys, please share and like this video. Okay, so now let's jump in Cubase and look at what we have. Now, I already have a very simple setup done on this simple session, which is only one vocal and one effects channel track that has a reverb as an insert. Okay, so this one is the reverb channel. And this one is, the one in yellow, is my dry vocal track.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars.
Okay, now basically what an effects channel track is, it's a parallel processing channel to be blend with your dry signal. So you send your signal from your vocal track. In this case, you send that signal in parallel to that channel, and you add a reverb to that channel, or a delay, or saturation, or compression, whatever effects you need to blend with your dry signal. That can be a combination of several effects. That is up to you. But the goal is to blend that signal with the dry signal. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do so. Right here, we have the amount of signal that we're sending to that specific effect. If I go into my sends tab right here on the top left of my vocal track, I can select the available effects channel tracks that I have on my session. Now I only have one, so I select verb, which is this channel right here. And I decide the amount of signal I want to send to this channel. So this is one way to send a signal to an effects channel track. So I can do it this way by deciding how much signal I want to send to that track and leaving that channel track at unity point. And this has some advantages. Like I read in the comments, using it this way has the advantage of using that track with several tracks. So you can actually have maybe like, I don't know, a dozen of tracks that are sending signal to the same reverb. So that has the advantage of using several tracks with the same reverb. That was very useful back in the analog days. So since equipment was very expensive, if you went into a home studio or something, like chances are that the owner of the studio had probably only one reverb unit or maybe two reverbs and one delay or something in his rack to be used in the mix. So in this case, it was very useful to set up the reverb on an aux track to be available for all tracks in a mix. to send the signal to that reverb. Okay, so that was one of the main use of an aux track when used with an effect. With today's computers though, processing is not a big issue. So I don't think on using an effects channel track to save CPU power. I do it depending on the type of mix I'm working. If I'm working on a jazz production or an acoustic stripped down production, I am going to use an effects channel track probably this way. So I'm probably going to have a couple of reverbs that are going to be used as main reverbs for all the tracks in my mix session for this type of production. If I'm working on a rock or a pop production, that will depend on the instrument I'm working on. For drums, I will have some effects channel tracks that are going to be served for several tracks. For vocals, that depends. I like to keep my effects for my lead vocal separately from the rest of the tracks. So for instance, if I have that one vocal track on a pop or rock production, I have like in my template, I have like a bunch of effects channel tracks already in my template that has a reverb. One other channel is a delay, one is slap delay, mono or stereo, a ping pong delay, one mono reverb and stereo reverb, all sorts of different effects channel track channels that I use only for my lead vocal. I do a lot of automation when it comes to effects on a lead vocal in the pop or rock production. And I like to use my main fader to dose the amount of effect, of reverb that I want, or delay that I want to have with my dry signal. Instead of playing with the send gain level, I tend to keep the send gain level the same for all the effects, and just use the channel's fader to dose the amount of effect I want to have for the vocal track. So this is the way that I like to work. When I do automation, I use my fader port, the PreSonus fader port, that is a controller where I can control without my mouse a channel's fader. So this is very useful when it comes to automation, and this is another very good reason why I like to do it this way on those kinds of productions. So in this case, what I would do, I would keep the send level of the dry signal pretty high, and then dose the amount of reverb with the fader.
Fly me to the moon.
If my signal is a bit too high, I can lower a bit the gain, the send gain, and bring up my my channel's fader so I have a better resolution.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars.
But it doesn't matter what you do. You can do it this way, or you can do it the other way around, where you just play with the send gain level. It doesn't matter much. That depends on what you like, what is your workflow, the way you're most comfortable to work with. So it's really up to you. So here's an example of the type of workflow I'm gonna get on a full mix. In this particular mix, I needed the vocal to swim in some effects, and adding automation on those effects channel tracks were part of my workflow. Using several effects channel tracks to serve one source, in this case the lead vocal, was very useful for me on this mix. So as you can tell, there's a lot of automation going on with a vocal throw, which was a huge delay, a kind of a ping pong delay. And also there's a stereo delay going on. There's some reverb that is going high and low, you know, so you get a lot of effects movement going on for this part of the song. What's important here is that there are no rules. The important thing is that you know what you're doing to get to the results that you want for your mix, okay? So it doesn't matter if you use your send effects channel to serve several tracks, or only one group of tracks, or only one track, like my lead vocal, for example, on the way I work in my mix sessions. Now I'm probably gonna cover the second part of the comment in another video, but for the time being, this is going to be it for today. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave everything down below, and don't forget to share and to like this video. And again, if you're new here on the channel, subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. All right guys, I'm out of here. Ciao.